Hey there, this is 2.2 angle pairs without parallel lines. So if you think that you got a good hold on 2.1, then 2.2 will be a breeze for you. And if you weren't so great at 2.1, well, then this will be another chance for things to hopefully click a little bit better for you. So what we are doing is we are still working with the same sort of situation where we have two lines and a transversal, except in this lesson, our two lines are not parallel to one another. So we still have what we could call line M and N. The names of them wouldn't matter, but this time they're not parallel. They're going to run into each other at some point. We still have our T, our transversal. And remember, a transversal is just another line that cuts through some other lines. All right, so we're just going to draw the diagram one more time and just kind of make sure that we have a good grasp on where each of our angle pairs are and what they are. So let's draw this one more time and let's number them. I'm just going to go kind of random here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll number them that way this time, okay? And I just want to go through this one more time and make sure that we know where to find our angle pairs. So I'm going to start with consecutive interior. I'm going in a different order this time. Consecutive interior. Remember, consecutive means same side. Interior means inside the lines, not the parallel lines this time, but inside the lines. And this is the one that I like to remember is the letter C. Okay, consecutive starts with the C. The letter C is kind of how you can find them. So I'm going to go inside those two lines. I'm going to look for a letter C, and there we go. We got angle 6 and angle 4. And I'm going to find the other pair. I may not do all of them for each of them, but I'm going to do all of them for this one. There is another letter C up this way. So angles 2 and 5. All right, so in the last lesson, consecutive interior angles were always supplementary. They always added up to 180 degrees, but that is not going to be the case when your lines are not parallel. And you can kind of see from the diagram here, this angle 5, it looks pretty small. I would guess that that's about 30 degrees. And that angle 2, to me, that looks a touch bigger than 90. I'd maybe say it's like 110 degrees. So if you added those two together, 30 degrees plus 110 degrees, that's not going to get you to 180. It's only going to get you to 140. So there's no special relationship there. It's going to depend on kind of which, how slanted your lines are, how far off they are from being parallel. Okay, now I'm going to go down to consecutive exterior. So they're going to be on the outside of the two lines, but they're consecutive. They're on the same side of the transversal. So angles 1 and 7 would do just that. They're both above the blue line. They're outside of those two lines. So we're going to write them down as consecutive exteriors, angle 1 and angle 7. And then we would also have angles 3 and 8. And again, no special relationship there. Okay. Now I'm going to go down to alternate interior. I'm just kind of reminding you of some things here because I know we've already done this, but these are like the insides of the letter Z. Alternate interior is the letter Z. So I'm going to grab a different color here and I'm going to find a Z. Let's see, here's a Z right there. There's a Z. So angle 5 and angle 4. Now these ones look actually fairly congruent, but they're not. Angle 5 is a little bit smaller than angle 4, so they still are alternate interior angles. You can still call them that, okay, but they are not necessarily congruent. So we're going to write ourselves a little note that they are not necessarily congruent because our lines are not parallel. All right, there is another pair there, angle 2 and angle 6, but I'm going to keep moving here. I'm going to go on to alternate exterior angles. So that would be like an angle 7 and an angle 3. And again, they're not congruent. they're both obtuse in this case, but angle 7 is definitely bigger than angle 3, the way that my diagram is written. And then lastly, corresponding angles. Corresponding angles, that's where we do the letter F. So I'm going to find an F. There's a nice F right there. And we could find the inside, so angles 8 and 4 would be an example of corresponding. Again, they're both acute, but angle 8 is smaller than angle 4. So they are also not congruent because our lines are not parallel. All right. So on your assignment today, you're gonna have a diagram that looks something like this. There's gonna actually be two sets of lines and two transversals. So I don't want to spend a ton of time here. I just want to kind of give you a hint on what to do here because there's a lot going on. So they're gonna be numbered, angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then oh no, there's more. There's 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16. So people will get like really intimidated by this. They're like, oh my gosh, there are way too many numbers here. There's way too many angles. I don't know what to do. So I'm just gonna kind of show you what I do in a situation like this. So if I asked you, what is the relationship between angle 1 and angle 8? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to find those two angles. You're going to find angle 1 and angle 8. Now, they're both on the left side of the diagram, so you can ignore everything on the right side over here. We can pretend that none of that exists. You can use a piece of paper, you can use your hand to cover it up, and just focus on that one side. And now I think it's a lot easier to see that you are on the outside of your two lines. You're on opposite sides of the transversal. One's on the left and one's on the right. So those are going to be alternate exterior angles. Okay, I'll do one more. I'll ask you about angles 6 and 15. Okay, 6 and 15. Well, you'll notice that 6 and 15 are both like towards the bottom of your diagram, so you can ignore everything on the top. So take a piece of paper, cover everything else up except for 6 and 15, and then you can go, oh, okay, they're both inside the two lines, they're on opposite sides of the transversal. I can really nicely see a letter Z here. So those must be alternate interiors. And I'm going to write down which ones we did. We did 6 and 15. That's our alternate interiors. So again, I don't want to spend a whole ton of your time on these. I just want to give you that hint of covering up part of the diagram that you don't need. So in summary, I would write this one down. I know some of you have been asking if you need to write all of the summaries down. I'd write this one down. All of those angle pairs still exist without parallel lines. You can still call something, corresponding angles. They just don't have the same relationships when you're not working with those parallel lines. So there's not the same relationship with the angle measurements, with the congruence and the supplementary idea. So that's that. As always, let me know if you have any questions or if you're still not, it's not clicking as to how to decide which angle pair is which.